Hello, Autry. My name is Anita Foster. I'm the Library Media Specialist at Autry Middle School, and today we're talking all about goals and goal setting. And why is goal setting important? Well, let's find out. Okay, so I've been teaching about SMART goals and goal setting for several years now, and it's very important that we use it to use our SMART goals because we want to dream big. And I just realized that this image, for some reason, somebody misspelled dream. But dream big, set goals, and take actions. It helps us figure out what we want in life, or even not just in life, this semester, and then how to get it, and then the actions that we need to take to get to those goals. So why do we need goals? Well, goals help us with our vision. And setting goals helps us plan for our future, whether it's long-term, like I want to be a doctor one day, or short-term. Now, I'm going to tell you this story, and it's kind of funny, is when Miss Foster was a little girl, I was in the 3rd grade. I remember it vividly. I thought, I'm going to get a notebook, and I'm going to write all of the cool things my teachers do over the years in it, because my 3rd grade teacher was pretty cool. And I'm going to write all of the cool things that my teachers do in it over the years. And when I'm a teacher, then I'll have this notebook to look back on. Well, you know what? My teachers kept doing cool things, but I never did that because immediately I already started doubting myself. And I said, no, I'll never be a teacher. But had I done that, I would have had, when I started teaching, this cool notebook of things that I could rely on. So when you set a goal, it helps us plan for our future. Another thing that goal setting does, it helps us to measure progress. So we set our goals and then we keep track of where we are in reaching our long-term and short-term goals. So we'll have checkpoints along the way. Another thing that goal setting does is it helps us with organization, because when we set a goal, it helps us to organize our resources and our ideas and times to achieve our goals. So we want to meet our goals, but we need to be a little bit organized in how we do that. And then the other thing it does is goal setting helps us to build confidence. So by setting and meeting our short-term goals, it will help us realize that, hey, I can reach my long-term goals too. So when you want to reach your goals, we need to talk a little bit about self-efficacy. I know that's a really long word and can be confusing at times, but self-efficacy just means that you believe in yourself. That's the long and short of it. You're setting goals and you believe that you can reach these, and you're going to work hard to achieve them. So the first thing we do is we set goals. We set some long-term goals and some short-term goals, and we want to make sure that they are attainable, SMART goals. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to plan out a path to reach these goals. So we want to make sure that we are organized in our thinking and our planning so that we can reach these goals to the best of our ability. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work regularly to reach our goals. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes, but you need to set goals that you're not going to reach in a 5 or 10 minute or even a 24-hour period, time period. You want to reach goals and work on goals. That's going to take you a little bit of time, and it's going to make you work for it. It's not something that, I can do that in 10 minutes. That's not a goal. That's a task. Okay? So you want to set goals that you can work on for a long period of time. So a short-term goal would probably take you a couple of months or a semester, or maybe even the school year. A long-term goal is looking farther into your future, and you're setting goals for when you graduate high school or when you graduate college, and they're looking further into your future. The next thing we're going to do after we start working on our goals regularly, we're going to check in and make sure that we're progressing on our goals. And if we're not doing it, like I forgot to do it this week or I forgot to work on it this month, then I am making sure that I am logging in. I'm making sure that I am checking on my goals at a regular pace so that I can make changes as needed. So if I forgot to work on it this week, so I'm going to make sure that I get to it next week. I'm making sure that's that self-efficacy part where I am responsible for myself. I am responsible for my goals, and I am making sure that I am working towards my goal in the end. The next thing that we do is we're going to celebrate successes. So when you reach your goal, whether it's a long-term goal or a short-term goal, we're going to celebrate. Hey, guess what? I just did this. Or, hey, you know what? I reached this goal, so I'm going to celebrate in this way. And sometimes I have my celebrations thought out ahead, and sometimes they're like, wow, I cannot believe I've already gotten here and I've already met this goal, so I'm going to go forward and meet this goal, so I'm going to celebrate my success here. And then the next thing to do once you finish your goal and you've met your goal is to plan new goals. Goal setting never ends. I will always, always, always be setting new goals. I have goals that I have set for myself that's several years in advance, and I have goals that I have set for myself that I want to achieve in the next couple of months. So once I meet a goal, then I am going to go forward and set a new goal. So one thing that we have to understand when we're setting our goals is who is responsible. We're setting these goals, and who is in charge of you? Who is in charge of your goals? Who is in charge of your future? Is it your teacher? Is it your parent? Is it a friend? Nope. There is only one person who is responsible for you, and that is you. You are responsible for setting goals that you feel that you can achieve. It is your responsibility to make sure that you work on achieving these goals. It is no one's else responsibility to hold you accountable. It is your responsibility to hold yourself accountable. So you want to make sure that you're doing your best and you're living your best life. Well, the way to do that is by setting goals that are smart. And that's what we're going to talk about next, is SMART goals. I do like this quote, though, from Stephen Covey, who wrote the whole 7 habits that we go by here at Autry. I'm not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. Meaning, you cannot control your circumstances. You cannot control that, mom got sick and couldn't take you to this thing that you were going to be working on your goal, some meeting or something that you had to go to, or some event that you had to go to, or you can't help it that dad had to work and he couldn't help you with this part. It's not their responsibility to remember to do that. Remember, that's your responsibility. But you cannot control the circumstances, but what you can do is you can control how you are going to react to them and how you are going to be successful in the life that you live. All right, so SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're timely. So when you're setting a goal, you need to make sure that you are asking yourself, is my goal specific? Is my goal measurable? Is my goal achievable? Is my goal realistic? And is my goal timely? So when you're setting a specific goal, you need to make sure you know exactly what you want to achieve. You're not going to say something in general, I want to read more. Nope. So here's my goal. My general goal would be to read more. But my SMART goal is that this semester I want to read 1 book a week. So I became more specific, not just that I want to read more, but I want to read 1 book a week. Now, I have this little picture over here of the rocket going towards the moon. And here, this is Miss Foster being funny and silly and everything. But I truly do believe this. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that saying that shoot for the moon. If you miss, at least you'll end up in the stars. Well, who wants to be lost in space? I don't. So when you're setting your goal, you want to be specific and you want to make sure that when you shoot for the moon, that you land on the moon and that you're not floating around in space with no fuel or anything. Okay? So you want to make sure when you're setting your goal to be specific. I want to read 1 book a week. So when you're setting your goals, you want to be specific so that you know exactly what you want to achieve. But my question to you is, what is your goal? Do you want your goal to be school, with grades, with reading, with leadership? Do you want it to be extracurricular with sports and clubs? Or family with chores and relationships? Now, I'm going to go on and tell you, Mr. Crawford is going to want you to work on one school goal this semester, this year. And he's going to want that related somehow to your grades or reading. He's not worried about your leadership goal this year. Normally we do 2 goals every year, or sometimes every semester. But this year he said he wants at least one goal because things have been crazy with virtual learning and with now face-to-face and virtual. So we're going to just concentrate on one school grade, whether it's grades or reading every semester. So we would like for you to work on one of those. So after you're specific and you know exactly what goal you want, the next thing is we want to make sure that your goal is measurable. How are you going to measure when you meet this goal? So a measurable goal helps us know how far we've come and how far we need to go to meet our goal. So for example, my measurable goal was that I want to read more. But my SMART goal is this semester I want to read 1 book a week. Well, my 1 a week is my measurable goal. So when you're setting a measurable goal, you need to figure out, well, how are you going to measure it? By how many times a week or month? Or is it going to be a percentage or a grade that you're going to measure? But in some way, your goal needs to be measured. The next thing you're going to ask yourself, well, is it achievable? So is my goal something that I can reach in the time period that I've set? Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes in my past, Ms. Foster has set goals and they are not achievable. I wanted to get something done by a certain amount of time, but there was no way. I knew going into it, man, this is going to be hard for me to do. And then sometimes I've set goals and they're too easy and I can get it done in just a matter of moments or in a couple of hours. Like I said earlier, that's not a goal, that's a task. So I need to make sure that what I am setting is something that is achievable, that I am going to work on, but I can get it done in the time period that I've set. So I would not set a goal that I cannot achieve on my own. I would not, that I'm relying on other people to do things with me for me to reach it. I would not do that. That's what I've done in the past, and it was hard to get other people because even though I may believe in my goal, they're like, okay, well, it's just something I have to do. It's not so important to them as it is to me because it's my goal. So I want to make sure that it is achievable for me to do and that I know that I'm the one working on it and I can get this goal done. So again, my goal is I want to read 1 book a week this semester. So that's something that I feel that I can do. I love reading. I would not do something that I did not enjoy doing as my goal or something that I'm not already working towards. Okay? Only you know your motivation and your limits. You need to set the goal that to achieve it, but not a goal that doesn't stretch you and teach you in some way. You need to make sure that the goal that you're working towards is something that's important to you. You need to make sure that it's something that you want to do. I would never say that my goal is to eat turnips at every meal because I hate turnips. Okay? So I want to make sure that what I'm working on, if my goal was, if it was a personal goal and it was I want to eat healthier, then that's something that maybe I could do. Or I want to eat five days a week healthier and know that on the weekend I can, have the little things that I want. I'm setting a goal there and I can make sure that I can achieve that goal. But if it is for me to eat turnips, Miss Foster, some of y'all may like turnips, Miss Foster does not. Okay? So you need to make sure that your goal is achievable and something you can work on. The next thing that you want to do is make sure that your goal is realistic and relevant in your life. So when I was younger, I used to volunteer and work at the baseball field. Why? Because I love baseball, but also my brother played baseball all the time. So we were at the park already, multiple times a week. So I would work and volunteer in the concession stands. Now, if I was setting a goal to work and volunteer at the baseball field, but I didn't like being outside, and I didn't like baseball, and I did not like working around food, that would not be a realistic goal for me. If my goal is to go and volunteer at my grandparents' nursing home, or to go and volunteer at my grandparents' house, that might be something that I enjoy and it's fun, but if they live far away and I can't meet that goal because I live too far away, then that's not a realistic goal for me. So when you're setting your goals, you need to make sure that they are realistic and relevant in your life. So again, my goal is to read books. I want to read 1 book a week this semester. If I don't like reading, that will not be one of my goals. But because I like reading, that is a realistic goal for me. Realistic, it is also what matters to you. What matters to you in your life. What goals are realistic in your life. So when you're thinking about what goal you want to set, you want to make sure that it's realistic. Now, Mr. Crawford has asked us to do something along our grades or reading that is related to school. So that's going to be something that's realistic to you. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit when I show you some example goals that you can set. And the last thing under a SMART goal is timely. We want to make sure that the goal is completed by the deadline that you set. So you're saying, okay, I can set this reach this goal by this date. Then that's what we want to do. So my example on here is this semester, I want to read 1 book a week. So I've set 2 time goals. I want to complete 1 book every week for this semester. So I know how long this is going to last, and I know how long I have to read a book. It's 1 a week. Okay? So I have 2 different timelies in here by saying I want to read 1 book a week, and I want it to last this semester. Timely also means that you're setting a deadline for a goal. And like I said earlier, it should not be completed in a day or even a week. It needs to be something that you work towards completing. What are some semester-long goals that you can work towards? So steps to meeting your goals is, first you're going to set your goal. And it's going to be, like mine is, this semester I want to read 1 book a week. So the next thing that I do is I begin to plan for success. I choose books that I'm interested in reading. I look at genres that I like to read and want to read. And if you're anything like me, you already have a want to read list. Another way that you can plan for success is talk to friends and family that like to read and ask them for some book suggestions. Talk to people about books. Come in the CLC and say, hey, Miss Foster, I was wondering about this book. Have you read it yet? Or talk to one of us in here and we'll be more than happy to help you. The next thing, once you've planned for your success, is you're going to start working the plan. So, like I said, I want to read 1 book a week. So I'm going to start checking out books from the CLC, from the Cobb County Public Library, and from our SORA ebook and audiobook selections. And I'm going to begin reading. Then, as things go, I'm going to check on my progress by making a reading chart to see what books I'm reading when. I might even make a sign that said, we had one last year in here in the CLC that I was doing. We were doing read 20 books in 2020, and I would put up there the cover of the book as I was reading it, so I can make a chart or something so that I'm successful, and I'm going to be accountable to other people that I share my goal with. Don't quit if I'm not successful in 1 week. I would just readjust. Maybe there's 1 week that I'm going to have extra time, like over Thanksgiving or Christmas break, where I can read more than 1 book a week. Okay, so if I'm not going to quit just because 1 week I may fall behind, or 2 weeks I may fall behind. I'm just going to readjust. Maybe I'll pick a short stories book 1 week so that I can do another book that week. I'll just readjust and fix it so that I meet my goal. And then when I'm done, I'm going to celebrate my success for both long-term and short-term goals. So maybe at the end of every week, when I finish reading a book, I will have some type of celebration, whether it's just a sticker or something like that, or I post on social media, oh, I just finished this book and it was great. Or at the end of my long-term, I may have a celebration that, wow, I read, and I post, or I celebrate in some way how many books I've read that semester. So when you set a goal, you're going to make a plan, you're going to get to work, and you're going to stick to it. Then you're going to reach your goal. Because if you do all of these steps, it's going to be easy for you. So in your agenda, you have my WIG, which WIG stands for Wildly Important Goal. And what you're going to do is we are going to work on our academic goal. So I kind of have this filled out already for my goal, or some suggestions. So for this one, for an example, I put on here to bring up my math grade from a 72% to an 85% by the end of the semester. Now, those of you that know me know that I struggle with math. I have a calculator on my desk for just that reason, because when I have to add things up or do things and it's a lot of numbers, I'm going to rely on that technology. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I might be struggling in math, and I might have a 72, and that's okay. But I want that grade to be an 85% or a B by the end of the semester. So I'm not saying I'm going to have 100% or I'm going to have a 95%, because I know that it's going to be hard for me to get it up to an 85%. So I would not set it too high and make it to a 95%. I am setting my goal based on me and how I know I can achieve that goal. So I need to ask myself, is this SMART goal specific? Well, how is it specific? My SMART goal is to bring my math grade up from a 72 to an 85 by the end of the semester. So what exactly do I want to achieve? Well, I want to bring up my math grade to at least an 85%. Is it measurable? How will you know when you've reached your goal? When my class grade is at or above 85%. Is it action-oriented? What steps will I take to reach my goal? Well, it's action-oriented to turn in assignments on time, study for quizzes and tests, and ask questions. Is it realistic? Can you achieve your goal? Yes, I can do better by studying and doing my work. Is it timely? What is the deadline for your goal? Well, the deadline is the end of this semester. So for quarter one reflection, I'm just going to put here that I set this goal and am working towards getting a higher grade. At the end of quarter two, I would write in here whether or not I reached this goal. Quarter three, I might need to reevaluate and make a new goal, or say, you know what, I am still working on this goal to keep my grade above an 85% in math. Or maybe I achieved it and I say, now I've got an 85%, so next semester, maybe I want to try and get that 90% or higher. And that 90% or higher would give me an A. And then the end of fourth quarter, then I would put my value or my reflection on there. So how will I celebrate when I achieve this goal? I will play 2 hours of my favorite game, and I could even put the word on there, uninterrupted. So make sure you have some way that you're going to reward yourself and celebrate with it. So here are some other possible goals that you may have. So I will earn satisfactory conduct with no minor infractions this semester. Now, if you're a person that does not get minor infractions, this would not be a goal for you. Or if you're a person who is at home and you're doing virtual, this may not be a good goal for you. I will earn honor roll with all A's and no more than 3 B's this semester. That's a good goal if you've never had honor roll before. If you're a student who gets honor roll every single semester, then maybe that's not it. Maybe your goal, if you've already got an honor roll, will be to earn principal's list with all A's. Or if you're a person who already has principal's list, then you might want to consider reading 1 book a week for the rest of this semester, or reading 1 book every 2 weeks, or whatever it is. Think about how quick you can read a book and how often you read a book, and set your goal to go above that. Another one might be, I want to earn whatever grade you're reaching for in this class this semester. So if you've got a C in science, maybe you want to get an 85 or better in science this semester. Or I will turn in all of my work in whatever class it is on time this semester. So there's different academic goals that you can create and set while you're doing this. So right now what I need you to do is get out your agenda, and you're going to open it up. And towards the front, it's not too far in, it's close to the front, is your goal sheets. And like I said, Mr. Crawford said, we're not going to work on a leadership goal right now. If you choose and you want to, you're more than welcome to set a goal anytime. It does not have to be at the beginning of every year or at the beginning of every semester. You can set a goal anytime. Nobody's stopping you from doing it at your own. But what we are going to work on right now together in class is you're going to set an academic goal. And just like I showed you on that sheet just a minute ago, you're going to set a SMART academic goal. And you're going to make sure that your goal is specific, and you're going to explain how it's specific. You're going to say how it's measurable, how it's action-oriented, or like I called it, achievable. How is it realistic, and how is it timely? First quarter, there is no reflection because we're beginning second quarter. But then you are going to put down here how you are going to celebrate. Okay? So go on and get out your agendas. And for the rest of the class period, what you're going to be working on is writing your SMART goal. All right, Autry, I hope you learned something today about SMART goals and why they're so important. I hope you have a great day. This is Mrs. Foster from the CLC.